Morning, Scott Choppin here at Cedar Avenue in Long Beach. Today we're going to be going through the project to look at the plumbing installation. We've completed generally most of the framing, although they need to come back and button up some of the shear wall nailing, some of the final detailing on the hardware. But they'll do that after all the MEP and sprinkler work is completed, and in preparation for rough framing inspections, they'll get that all buttoned up. But today we're going to walk through and show you the plumbing. Here's some installation of some drainage. This is a bathroom, so you'll see that's a drain that will take the flow of the drainage from a sink. And then this pipe going upstairs will be what they call the vent stack, which is the air that needs to come in to allow the water to drain down into the sewer. As sewer and water goes into a drain, it needs to pull air and along. You can see here, this is plumbing coming up from upstairs. I think this may be another bathroom, but this is the basic same set of pipes that we just showed you. This is the water coming down into the sewer. And then as we get upstairs, we'll start to show you the vent stack. This is, as you can see, not complete. Here you can see this is the laundry connection location in one of the front units on this project in Long Beach. You can see the box. It's a pre-made box that you basically buy at a material supplier. Come in and nail or screw it in, and then add these two. I'll call them a pitcock or a valve, red and blue, obviously for hot and cold. And then that thing right there is a cover that will accept the drains from the washer when it's installed. And then obviously that flows down into a sewer. And then you got right there, that little thing with a square is where you put a wrench and open it up, and that's a sewer clean out or a drain clean out. And then here, the plumber will install this as our gas pipe that will supply the gas for the dryer, right? And that distributes from up above, and then it'll go across, and then in some cases outside. So you can see here, this is the main. This is what the gas line looks from outside. So this is where the gas meter will sit. And it goes up here, and then the plumber throws on a valve and pumps it up with pressure to make sure that it holds. That's the test that they do, both initially just to make sure that their installation is good, but also the inspector will come and make sure that this thing's going to hold pressure over time. That's a requirement. And then once that's all completed and the plumbing is inspected and approved, particularly the gas line, then we can call the gas company and they come out and install the gas line, which will come probably from there in the front along here, and then it'll go all along here down to all the gas locations. So you can see that's a gas location, and then it's a little bit hard to see, but a gas location there. So we have 4 units, and the gas line will run along here. And then at each location, it'll come in the ground, and then it'll pop up, and then the meter will sit here, and then it will connect to that, and then that all goes upstairs into the units or across the room. I want to show you guys this. So this is a drain coming up from upstairs. I think that's coming from the kitchen, but I want to show you this specifically. So this is going down into the ground, but you can see there's a T off of it, right? And I'm going to show you the other side of that, and that is the sewer clean out, or another drain clean out. And this basically allows maintenance of whatever goes down there, grease and other items that come from a kitchen or any drain. And this is where your roto-rooter guy would come to clean out. And you can see that almost every unit has it. This is one for next door. That one's a little bit bigger. And then right here, this looks to me like this is the sewer line that's going to go from here back to the alley. That's like the main sewer line right there. So you can see, and it's basically installed. And now that thing on the top with the little crosshatch, that's just a plumbing cap that you put in until it's time to install this thing permanently. Once the drain lines all come out from the units, this will all be buried. You won't see this after it's done. So we're going to go upstairs and show you. This is the same unit we've been showing on the past videos, and I'm going to do this really, I think, on all future videos just to show continuity. As you guys see this thing develop over time, the unit's built out. So let's see a couple of things. One, some materials are supplied here. This is the PEX. This is a thermoplastic pipe. We don't use copper anymore to supply water lines. And basically they use this PEX and they put fittings on the end of it and do a compression fitting and then connect it to the valve that comes out of the wall to supply water to, say, a sink or a toilet. Again, obviously red is hot and blue is cold for the water supply. Generally, you can see that these are, your typical tools for a plumber. You got your Milwaukee, your big drill. You can see that these guys drill holes through the studs and the other lumber with this thing, and they'll do a boatload of this drilling. And so you'll see on this bent pipe, you got that. They made those holes. And they drilled through this. Well, that's pretty typical of residential construction. You can see here he had to grind through that entire. Looks like a some sort of a glue lamp piece of lumber, and they ground through that thing. But this is basically your kitchen. That'll be your drain line for your sink. As you can see, that will have a little bit of fall, and then that will go downstairs to eventually tie into the sewer. And then this thing goes up, and this will be the vent stack. And this may pick up other drains, but eventually you got to get some air into the system, so these will pop out through the roof. So here's another bathroom, but this time I'm going to show you something that looks a little bit more installed. This is a shear wall, so this wall has OSB that's nailed in a pattern. Just to show you, this basically has nailing. This looks like it's every couple inches, and that nailing pattern is called for on the plans. You also have these Tico clips that tie the OSB sheeting into the top plate, or it actually looks like it's tied into that joist, sort of acting like a top plate. But you can see they'll go in and detail all this out. Now, they're not complete with this on the exterior. They'll get the same sort of nailing on the shear walls on the outside. But this is an interior shear wall. And they'll usually set this up on the interiors because they just want to be done and finish it once and not have to come back, where the exteriors are a little bit easier to come back. Plus, these guys had to go to another one of our jobs to finish framing. So this is a bathroom. So again, here you got your sink. There's a drain, there's a clean out. It's nice of them to put clean outs in lots of places. That helps. And then this is the toilet connection, but not in the in-ground concrete box that you saw down below. This is your typical upper floor, ring that sits in framing. And then the toilet will literally attach to that. It'll screw into that location there. And then it'll be 2 or 3 bolts that do that. And just showing you general, plumbing. Right there's a gas line. That's one that's coming up from downstairs. And you can see this goes up and over here, sits up in this joist bay. And then I'm betting this one's going to go upstairs, or this one may be going across to the unit. This unit over there, it's a different unit. And they leave this opening here, guys, by the way. This will eventually get buttoned up and probably more shear wall, but they leave it open just for convenience in the meantime. So let's go up one more floor. Okay, so this is another vent stack, and you can tell it's a vent stack because it's got no openings to tie in, sinks or other openings on this floor, and it goes straight up and out through the roof. Okay, so that's, identify it as a vent stack, and all that's doing is popping up under the roof and allowing air to be drawn into the system when a drain is turned on, or a faucet's turned on. It's draining. That goes down into the sewer, and it draws air in through the vent stack. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. It's a little bit subtle, but you see this gas line coming through. This is a galvanized pipe, not plastic. You can hear that plastic. This is metal, and this goes up and over, and then I'm going to show you on the other side where it terminates, and then it terminates right up there. So that line right there, that line right there, and that's actually going to connect to our heater that will sit up in the attic, which I had showed you the opening where you can get up in the attic to service this unit, and also that's how you take the equipment up to install it. So this is pretty typical. So your plumber's going to have, your vent pipes and vent stacks, like that stuff, you know, the plastic, the ABS. Then you'll have your gas lines, you know, like this right there. And then I'm going to show you in a minute here the PEX. But I'm going to show you the domestic water, basically the water that, you know, you use to drink and wash dishes. And you can see this is stubbing out of the wall, right? You can see this is the bottom of the, you know, the foundation, which we saw in the past when we poured that. And then this stubs out of the wall, and this eventually will have a water line come up and connect to it. And back in the back there, there's going to be 3 or 4, 5 water meters, if I'm counting right. 4 for the units plus an irrigation meter that will then have pipes distributed, and they'll come over here, and then they'll come up out of the ground here and go up and connect to this pipe. Okay, so you'll basically, from the outside, when it's finished, you'll see a valve, and that's how you would turn off your main water line. So this goes up. You can see up, it actually goes up into the attic up there. All right, sorry about that. It goes up in the attic right there. You can see this goes up into the attic all the way. That white pipe goes all the way up into the attic, and I'll show you upstairs there. Okay, this is what the PEX starts to look like on the inside. Basically, same process. They drill holes in the framing to then distribute the pipes. And you can sort of see, it's a little bit hard to see, but you can see the connectors there. And those are compression fittings. They use a tool to open up the PVC pipe or the PEX pipe, and then they put those connections in, and then the pipe shrinks back around it. This is probably, I'm not sure what this is going to do here. I don't think it's for the laundry room. Again, there's your gas pipe and a drain line. Okay. Oh, I know what this one right here is for outdoor spigot. So here this pipe ends, but then it's going to go out through there, through that hole, and its spigot will stick outside for, you know, just water on the outside. This is a typical kitchen installation. So this is stubbing out. So you got your window here. You know, this is your kitchen window. Your kitchen sink will be centered on that. And then underneath the cabinet will be your hot and cold supply, which will connect eventually to the sink when we're in our finished stage for plumbing. Here's your drain line that'll service the kitchen sink. And then you can see how this PEX comes up from the bottom, which will be, oh, I know what that was downstairs. That was where the water heater was going to go. And so then this, you know, after it's distributed through, the water heater goes up and then, you know, distributes up into the joist bay. And then as an example, this one comes down and goes back down, I think probably to that water heater. Here you have a kitchen supply, like your ice maker with your white pipe. White pipe basically just designates just a general water supply, not hot or cold in the normal sense, although for this refrigerator it will be a cold supply. And you can see up there, it's a little hard to see, but you can see that white pipe connects off the blue pipe, so that's a cold water supply supplying the refrigerator. And then I'll just go show you a bathroom, same general thing. This is looking at it from the back side. Okay, that right there is the toilet supply. So there, again, you see the toilet ring. And then this is the spigot or the valve for the toilet to fill it up after you flush it. I'll go show this from the inside. But this is what it looks like from the other side. And this will actually stick out, and then they'll cut that off and they'll put a valve on it. And then from that valve will be another line that goes into the bottom of the toilet. Again, here's your toilet ring. Here's your typical sink setup. So your 2 water supplies. That in the middle, that black pipe is your drain, and then right there is your clean out for the drain line. And as you'll notice, these guys are doing a nice job because they're putting a clean out at every sink, which is sweet. I suspect this one's going up, supplying something upstairs. This I'm showing you here is the 2nd floor, so this is coming up. I'm going to show you this. It's a little bit hard to see, but if you look in here, if you look right there, that is a chase, so it's a dead space in between the framing. So that one is the wall of the stairs on that side, so it'll be a good drywall there. And then this is going to get drywall, and that's actually the wall that separates this unit from the other unit. So this will get closed up with drywall, but what that's important for is this is where you use it to run plumbing. So this is like a dead space or a plenum Some people call it a chase, different names for different things. But this is just a place that's like in between units that allows, I'm going to step into this next unit, and you can see the PEX goes up there. And you don't have to use it, right? There's the PEX going up right there. And that's just as a way to run, water and sewer. You can use electrical. The HVAC guys will use it. I mean, everybody can use the chase. Although in typical linear process, the plumber always comes first, typically. And the way I think of it is the sub that has the hardest materials to work with, like a hard pipe, ABS in this case, or not wrought iron, iron pipe. They gotta go first so people aren't in their way. And then typically after these guys would come maybe the sprinkler guys, the electrician, HVAC guys. In fact, usually it's probably plumbing, HVAC, sprinkler, and electrical. And there's no magic to that order. Sort of depends on the subs, but if you get them in the wrong order, man, I tell you what, they'll complain to the end of days. If your plumber has to come after your electrician, he's gonna be mad because the electrician will drill holes in all the same spots that the plumber wants to go, and then they'll be fighting over access to their locations that they need. So I think this sort of wraps it up for the plumbing. I don't think there's anything more to show. Each unit will generally have exactly the same stuff. Again, here's another bathroom. So you got your 2 water supplies, hot, cold, your drain, your clean out. Here's your toilet supply, cold water, and then there's your toilet ring. Over here will be a shower. So again, you see, 2 pipes for a water supply here, vent stack, because you can see that those vents go up through the roof, right? And so those are all tying in, and those get tied in basically all together. So the entire system ties into 1 or more vent stacks that go up to the roof, okay? And then there'll be a drain line for the shower. And you know that because it's in the middle. If it was a tub enclosure, then the drain line would be on that side right there. It'd basically have a drain line, might even have a drain, in that stack there. Okay, but that'll go through the floor and downstairs into a drain line that's hooked up there. Okay, so I think that's it. So that's the update from lovely Long Beach for one of our latest UTH projects. Just showing you a little view, good little city treetop view. Thanks so much. So just a quick little wrap up here. So far we've completed the demolition, grading, foundation, framing, and we're in process on the plumbing. And then I talked a little bit on the videos what comes next, generally HVAC, sprinklers, and electrical after that. And then once we get through that, what we call the rough stage, so basically think of it like rough framing, rough electrical, rough mechanical, rough plumbing, we'll go through what would be our final rough inspection cycle, which would be all those inclusive. Then that's generally what allows us to close up walls. And then the project starts to split into what I think of as 2 distinct paths, although they run parallel. One is the interior path. So that's the finishing of the interior. So that would be insulation, drywall, cabinets, flooring, then do your finish of mechanical, electrical, plumbing. That'd be installing your faucets, installing your receptacles and receptacle covers for electrical, and for HVAC that would be installing your vent covers and that kind of thing. And then on the outside we have a parallel path, but then that starts to close up the outside walls. That would be paper or Tyvek on your outside framing. Then that would be your stucco layer. They'll obviously set up, or maybe not obviously, just they'll set up scaffolding. Then the stucco goes in. The stucco guys use the scaffolding to do that. Before rough inspection, actually, I forgot part of it, which was you'll install your windows and your window flashing. That will be approved as part of your rough inspection cycle. And then once those finish up, then you sort of come back together, and then your final stage is usually your exterior flat work, like your driveways and sidewalks, and then your landscaping. So I won't say that we're quite halfway through, but I see that the finishing of the rough installation, rough framing, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, windows, is usually a big part of your project in a cost standpoint. So usually by that point you'll have expended the majority of your major trade costs, you know, framing usually being the largest for a project like this, your typical residential, you know, middle density type of stick frame building like UTH is, you know, our UTH product or urban townhouse product. So anyways, I just want to give you, you know, quick, you know, debrief there so you can anticipate what's going to come in the next set of videos. And I look forward to showing you guys more. Take care.